Hi folks, hope you're all doing well. This is my post-match reaction to the Scotland against France game. Final score, Scotland 17, France 36. And if you are Scottish, that was the equivalent of watching garbage go down a chute and just keep going down and down and down, and it was very painful viewing. And we got what we deserved, which was an absolute walloping. To be fair, France looked a very good team today, especially in broken play. They scored some very good tries, but overall our performance was not up to scratch whatsoever. We deserve what we got. That was simple. We just did. I don't know if we just didn't turn up. I mean, our defence today at times was so passive. It was unbelievable. And the thing is, since Steve Tandy's become our defence coach, we've actually looked very good defensively. But the passiveness at times, especially Duhan van der Merwe at 11, and there was a few times he was just sort of jogging. I don't know, he just looked so lethargic in his movement, and he was all over the place. And it was no wonder all the tries from France in that second half, and even a couple in the first half, all came down their right-hand side, our left-hand side. And I'm not saying it's entirely Duhan van der Merwe's fault, but if you look at his movement, just how lethargic and how lazy he was in defence, it's just anger-inducing, absolute anger-inducing. But anyway, as I said, I have to give France the credit due. They played some brilliant rugby today, but Scotland were just absolutely diabolical at times. I mean, the first two tries of France, the first one was a poor decision to kick from Finn Russell, and a poor kick. It gave Dupont all the room in the world to make the break that he did, and then it went to eventually Paul Willems. He was the one who got the try, and the second one, I just went out wide and back in, and Mofofana, pardon me if I've mispronounced his name, scored the try on the right hand side. But I have to say also, Carl Dixon, I understand not very experienced at international level, and it was absolutely clear he had a poor game. There were some penalties he gave away, which at international level, you think referees at that level should not be given away. There were a couple of times France got turnovers from at the breakdown situation where it shouldn't have been awarded as a turnover, because there was a couple of times the French players weren't supporting their own body weight properly, and a couple of other things which I thought throughout the game were a bit dubious, including one that led to a French try. Apart from the Mofofana one, which was dubious as well in terms of how long a French player was holding up at the line-out. He did eventually ping France for it and give him a free kick, but apart from that, he had a very shoddy game, let's say that. But he's not the reason Scotland lost this game. We lost it on our own. Again, very passive defence. We didn't seem to cope with a French team that were playing with the ball at pace, and fair play to France for doing that. But we just, it was still very poor. And considering how well our defence has been under Steve Tandy, it's not good enough. We did get our tries from Rory Darge in the first half, who, to be fair, is one of the few players who can come away from this game with great credibility. I thought he had a very good game on the whole. And we got a try right at the end from Duhan van der Merwe, but that was when the game was over, so it didn't really matter, to be honest. And a big turning point was also when we had a breakaway. Chris Harris flung a long pass out to Stuart Hogg. I know there's a couple of folk who have said that the pass from Harris was poor, and to a point that's maybe true, but Stuart Hogg's a 90 cap plus captain. There is no excuse for him not catching that, and if he caught it properly, he would have had the pace to definitely go over. So no excuses for that whatsoever from him. Obviously, I mean, I think it can be definitely argued that Harris should have passed it to Ali Price and then should have just gone through the hands and then got it to Hogg to score the try. But on the whole, not good enough from Stuart Hogg, not good enough from Scotland. Anyway, going forward, I think this France team is actually looking very good for the title, maybe even the Grand Slam. I think they're having the moments of really clicking. Their defensive work at the breakdown at times, despite a couple of times, I think Carl Dixon being too favourable to them, was looking very good. And yeah, defensively as well, I think Sean Edwards has marshalled them very well on the whole, apart from the Rory Darge try where they left a good open hole for him to exploit. But yeah, apart from that, he's marshalled them very well. That's all I've really got to say, folks. Well done to France. You thoroughly deserved the victory. Antoine Dupont, who we've actually has struggled against us in the last couple of times France have played Scotland, had a very good game today, and I think was the fair man of the match. And Scotland, we need to go to Italy in a couple of weeks. I think changes are definitely needed, and we need to bounce back with intent to show we're determined to at least go for the last two games in this championship. That's all I've really got to say here, folks. Thanks for taking the time to watch my match reaction reviews. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you later on.